All right, what's up, everybody? This is hashtag homeless, day 15. More than 2 weeks. I can't. My mind can't even wrap itself around the fact that it's been 2 weeks since I strapped on a 60-pound backpack and walked out of the apartment that I was in, because it's been a blur. I just finished up eating ice cream for the first time in 2 years. Thanks to all of you putting money on my EBT card. Whether you wanted to or not, you did. And, I haven't spent it on filet mignon and lobster yet, but I'm probably going to do that when I have a place to cook it. Because really the only restrictions on EBT are you can't buy anything that's hot. And this governor of New York that I can't stand, she did supposedly make it, or she's pushing to make it so that you can use your EBT card at McDonald's and restaurants and stuff like that. And, that's an outrage to a lot of people. But at the same time, it's kind of a crummy deal when you're truly homeless. And I'm talking about, the people who aren't even in the homeless shelter, the people living under the bridge, the people who have absolutely nothing. And when they get an EBT card and they go to the grocery store and the only thing you can buy are like snacks, because the EBT card was invented was put out to kind of make it so that you would have to go buy the food yourself, take it home, prepare it, and cook for your family. But how are you going to cook when you're homeless? You really can't legally start a fire. And how many homeless people have cooking equipment to cook a meal? So that was the whole point of Kathy Hochul's move to try and make it so that you can walk into McDonald's and swipe your EBT card and get yourself a quarter pounder with cheese. And, I haven't eaten fast food in 2 years either. Since I went to prison, you don't get ice cream in prison. You're lucky if you get a hot dog. We're not going to talk about prison food. That's not what we're here for today. But yeah, I just ate ice cream for the first time in 2 years and felt pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good today. The sickness, the whatever it was, it started to go away yesterday. I did grab me some Dayquil, the generic version, the cheapest version I could get. Acetaminophen, that's a good thing to take because it's non-drowsy, and it did make it so I could get through the day. I wish I had done that on day one, because that would have made the weekend a lot more. It's because of the fact that I spent time in prison, and not having access to things makes you get used to not having things. And so when I was sick, I didn't even think to go get some acetaminophen or some sort of pill at CVS to take to make myself feel better while I was getting over it. But today it's as if it never even took place. I'm back to normal. And thank goodness, because it's a nice day outside. And once again, I had a lot to do. I had some stupid appointment at one place and another appointment at another place. And, even though I'm starting a job on Tuesday, I still have to keep up with all these appointments for different things that these are the things that come with your free money card. You get to go and you get to spend half your day standing in line for some dumb appointment for someone to tell you you need to go look for a job. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, and I found one, and I've had several interviews, and you want to see a record of every resume I've sent, every job interview I've had, every application I've filled out, and the status of each one, including the ones that were rejected and where I was specifically told that we're not going to hire you. I can do that. Just tell me where to send the email. Oh, I have to hand write all of it? because it's 2024 and you still can't receive a freaking email or do something electronically. Yeah, glad to see that my tax dollars are being well spent. At least some of them were being well spent on me to eat ice cream today, so I'll give it that. But yeah, I've got a job. I did get news. I am kind of in a sourpuss mood today because I did get word today that I was rejected from the job that I had interviewed for on Wednesday. And I can figure out why. I don't think it had anything to do with my criminal background or any of the other stuff. I think it had to do with the fact that it was a software engineering job, a code writing job. And, for the last 9 years, I've been a software designer, user experience designer. I design what things look like and how they function, more importantly, how they function. So I think that's just the reason. I did spend 6 years prior to that 9 as a user interface engineer for software companies. So I know that's how I know how to do this stuff. And I can say that out of the 9 years as a user experience designer, 2 of those companies were startup sized. So for 5 of the 9 years, I was writing code and doing that UI engineering job at those companies. But my portfolio and my resume pushes the design side a lot harder. And so, if you're up against 100 applicants for every job or more, there's obviously going to be some applicants who are user interface engineers and who are the exact fit for the job. And so I had no hard feelings. When I met with the guy, he told me he wanted to pass my information along to the design team to see if there would be any interest there. So it is what it is. These things happen all the time. Usually I have to go on about 5 job interviews before one of those interviews turns into a job, and that's in my professional life. So it took me 75 resumes to get 1 interview. So you look at 150 resumes for 2, so 300 for 4. So about by the time I send out 500 resumes, maybe I'll have a job. It's a long process sometimes. Today I met with a job coach who, that's the best way I can describe what she does. And she's pretty well connected in this town, so I thought she would be someone good to meet and just someone who might be able to help out. She wants to pass my resume around to some of her friends that are, that might be able to find me a job that's kind of halfway between what I'm going to be doing next week, which is working in a store, doing, stock, inventory, unloading trucks, maybe doing being a cashier once or twice a week. Basically just doing, everything that you would do in the store. Maybe somewhere halfway between that and the career that I left, unwillingly in handcuffs in August of 2022. Salary-wise, if I could get halfway between minimum wage and where I was, that would be enough to live. That would be, because I'm kind of doing the math on this minimum wage gig, and at the number of hours I'm getting, that's poverty level living. But, at least it's poverty with a roof over my head. Maybe there's bullet holes in the walls. Maybe there's gunshots outside. Maybe I have to bar the doors and windows at night and pray that nothing gets stolen during the day, because this is this neighborhood this place is bad. I told you Lucille Ball was from Jamestown, and I thought she was the only one. I thought she was the only famous person that ever came from here. Turned out I was wrong. I found out that yet another celebrity that you may know is from Jamestown, and that's Natalie Merchant of the band 10,000 Maniacs. Supposedly she's from Jamestown as well, and maybe the rest of the band are from here too. I don't know. but you don't see her picture on the billboards and the walls, and you don't see much of a mention of her anywhere in town. And I think most of that's because she's a bitch. That's pretty much what I've been told my whole life. And now I understand why when I was younger, people were telling me that, because I grew up in between Buffalo and Rochester, New York, which is not very far from here, but I really don't have any family anymore. So, and so there's people that I grew up with that claimed to have known her or knew people that knew her, and basically everybody connected to her or anybody who ever knew her say she's a total bitch. Like, that's why the band got rid of her, supposedly, because she's so full of herself, and and that's probably why they don't paint pictures of her and have her picture hanging up all over town, because, you know, there are so many buildings with I Love Lucy on the side, Lucille Ball. You know, you can't be anywhere in Jamestown and not see a picture of her within eyesight somewhere, on the side of a building or something like that. But Natalie Merchant, you wouldn't even know she was from here. I was told this. But I was like, you know what? She's probably a bitch, but she was probably walking around town one day and thinking to herself, you know, maybe talking to her buddies in the band, and she was like, you know, I'm just sick and tired of Jamestown. Every time I turn around, I'm surrounded by 10,000 freaking maniacs. And somebody else looks at her and says, you know, that might be a good name for the band. So I'm pretty sure that's how 10,000 Maniacs got their name, by, you know, they were just walking the streets of Jamestown and got sick of the company. And, you know, and there you go. The next thing you know, they're doing MTV Unplugged. And, you know, we're just going to leave it at that. So Jamestown, and the Natalie and the band, they had to get the hell out of this place to get out, to be successful. They weren't going to do it here. So, you know, I can get a remote job, but that remote job's going to be my ticket out of here. Because I have no desire to stay in Jamestown, New York. Sorry, Jamestown, but you're not impressing me at all. You're boarded up businesses, you're dilapidated, condemned housing. You know, you're the streets of Jamestown are not. I lived in Pittsburgh for 25 years, in the city, all over the city. Bad neighborhoods. I lived in one of the worst neighborhoods in Pittsburgh for probably 5 or 6 years. I can't remember. One of the worst neighborhoods in Pittsburgh for years. And Jamestown's worse. I can't stand Jamestown. I didn't mind the neighborhood when I was in Pittsburgh, the bad neighborhood. Jamestown's worse. Jamestown is worse than the worst neighborhood in Pittsburgh. So I got no love for Jamestown. I'm sorry, but and I got nothing but bad memories here. The good things about Jamestown are just going to bring back bad memories. I want to get as far away from this place as I can. And like I said, I would take a 6-hour detour on a road trip if it meant that I had to do that to avoid going through Jamestown. The 6 extra hours would be worth it. I walk around with a camera taking almost no pictures because, you know, the only pictures I could take are broken down, run down, boarded up things. And I try to take photos of beautiful things, and you don't see that here. It's so depressing. Jamestown, New York, it's like, there are times I think maybe the FBI shot me that night when they came to my house, and I'm just living in hell. And Jamestown, New York is pretty close to that, and it's really not doing anything to make me think otherwise. But, you know, as far as I'm aware, I'm still living, I'm still breathing, and, you know, we're just going to keep cranking along. Hopefully within a month, I'll be able to put a roof over my head and not be homeless anymore. And hashtag homeless will have to be hashtag something else. One of the things I want to do, I hope I can get on my feet, because I do want to give back to the homeless shelter. They do a lot for this community. I'll grumble about all the being treated like a child with all their silly rules and things like that. But they're a good group of people, and I've met a lot of good people here in town who really just want to help make this a better community. And this community needs people like that. And while I'm here, why not do what I can? And one of the things that came to my mind, I started to talk about it in another video, but my wandering mind just jumped right off track and went another direction. But bicycles. I was a bicycle mechanic from, when I was like 15 years old up until I was about 21 years old and got out of art school. Worked in a couple different bike shops in New York and Pittsburgh. And I'm good at it. I'm an avid cyclist even to this day. I mean, I can hop on a bicycle. My longest one-day bicycle ride's 140 or 174 miles in a single day. So I know a thing or two about bicycles. And the bicycle in a city, especially a town like this, is your best mode of transportation. City of Pittsburgh, you can get around faster on a bicycle than a car. Public transportation, yes, a car. I used to make money. I used to hustle people in college all the time saying, I'm just going to ride my bike to wherever we're going instead of sitting in the back seat of your car, and guess what? I'm going to beat you. And people would bet me, no, you're not. I'm driving a car. You're on a bicycle. And I'd be sitting in the bar with half a pint already gone by the time they come walking into the bar. And I'd just be like, all right, you owe me the next drink. Because you just lost that bet. Don't bet a guy on a bicycle in a city that you're going to beat him if you're driving a car, because you're going to get stopped at red lights. You're going to get... You're going to have to find a place to park. There's other things that go with driving a car that you don't think about until you race somebody who's on a bicycle across the city and you lose. So, what's the best thing a homeless person can have in their arsenal to get around town? A bicycle. Right now, I'm going to be walking 3 miles each way to this job. That takes me about an hour each way. With a bicycle, that's a 10-minute bicycle ride max. Maximum 10 minutes of riding. If the weather's bad, that's 10 minutes of being out in the bad weather versus an hour each way. Multiply it by 2, that's 20 minutes a day of transportation versus 2 hours. So that's going to save me an hour and 40 minutes every day just to take a bicycle instead of walking. So one of the things I would like to do when I get back on my feet and I have some money to spare, the homeless shelter does have some bicycles available. I might just grab one of theirs and start riding it, because they only let the people who are staying there use it specifically to go to and from their jobs. I'm kind of a bicycle snob. I'd rather have my own than ride some half-broken Huffy. I'd rather walk than ride a Huffy, to be honest with you. And that, bicycle snob, call me what you will, I don't care. I'll ride my $100 Cannondale that I bought on Craigslist. That was a 1980s Cannondale that probably cost close to $1,000 when it was new. I paid $100 for it, and I sold some of the accessories that the guy gave me with the bicycle for $200. So I actually got paid $100 to own a Cannondale, and I ride it all over the place. And I've ridden that bicycle on 1,000-mile rides. So one of the things I would like to do is maybe fix up the bicycles that they have at the homeless shelter if they need a mechanic to work on them. Right now, I don't have any tools. Especially bicycle-specific tools. I don't have any of that. But when I get back on my feet, I got to buy some of that stuff for myself, and I'll probably have a portable cycling tool bag that will be full of bicycling-specific tools. And I would be able to just show up on the scene and fix a bunch of bicycles for them. That would be something I could do without even having to spend money, other than spending the money on my tools. Another thing I'd like to do is maybe start a bicycle ministry of just finding bicycles and fixing them up and just flat out giving them to people in need. Because a bicycle, it's like Jesus said, or whoever said, give someone a fish and you'll feed them for a day, but teach someone to fish and you'll feed them for a lifetime. You can give somebody a ride from the homeless shelter to a job for a day, but you could give them a bicycle. I could find a bicycle at a yard sale for $10 that might need $10 worth of parts and an hour and a half of my time. And I could give that to somebody, and that could get somebody on their feet and give somebody the means to get back and forth to work. And, and another thing I could do, teach people how to fix their bikes, especially flat tires and things that you're going to encounter when you're, say you're cycling back and forth to work 5 miles each way, and you get a flat tire. If you're not prepared for that and you don't have the ability to fix that when you're on that ride, that's the difference between a 5-mile walk to get home or a 5-minute break to sit down and fix a flat tire, put some air back in the tire, get back on your bike and finish the 20 minutes it's going to take to get back home. So, teaching people how to fix their own bikes, giving bikes to people in need, and fixing the bikes that the homeless shelter has, or just like that just seems to be something that I could do, and and I'd be glad to do it. So that was something I thought of, but I can't take care of anybody else if I can't take care of myself right now. So we're just gonna go back to the library, see how many more resumes I can get blasted out, and just try to get rested and relaxed and ready to start this job next week. And I am definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be something different, and I'm looking forward to the fact that I don't have to go on interviews anymore for the time being, unless it's going to be an upgrade from the job that I'm starting on Tuesday. And with that said, I hope y'all have a good weekend. I'll probably be back on tomorrow with an update, but there's probably not going to be much to talk about. Maybe I'll pick a topic. One of these days I am going to dig into why I went to prison, and we'll get into some of these deeper topics, and I'll have time now to take some notes and actually do a more thought out 10. They seem to be about 20 minutes. It seems to be 20 minutes instead of 10. I don't know how to do a 10-minute unedited show. If I was editing these videos, I could get straight to the point and, cut out all the and side chats and the other directions I go, and just narrow it right down to a 10-minute blast. But for now, it is what it is. It's a homeless guy sitting in a park, taking 20 minutes out of his day to just say what it's like. And with that, we'll talk tomorrow. Peace.